What is going on, people? It is me, JC, and we're back with a little TBATE content. People have been asking me to make a little bit more TBATE differences, conversations going on here. So we're going to start with Mr. Elijah Knight. And that's going to have a question for Total Me, because they revealed some critical information in the webtoon that wasn't in the light novel. And I'm just kind of wondering why they did that. I think the surprise of what could have been for us webtoon only readers at first, which was me, would have been great. It would have been grand. It was something that would have been clamoring for and wondering and like eye popping, like head explosions. But he gave it to us early. So let's talk about it. By the way, subscribe to your boy, join the Carson crew for more TBATE content. Let's get into it. So this was when Arthur and Elijah first had a conversation. We kind of got a little bit of backstory of Elijah. Let's go ahead and read this real quick. Well, for one thing, you're right about your suspicions. While I was raised in the kingdom of Darv, I'm not sure where I originally came from. Elder Ordeus, who has taken care of me since I can remember, always avoided the subject of my parents. My only memories of my childhood come in these confusing and painful flashes. I still was living a fairly normal life until I broke into the dark orange stage. After this weird surge of energy, I blacked out. When I came to, I was surrounded by these black spikes of metal. And this is the weirdest thing. So this part of the story from the light novel and webtoon perspective is basically the same. But what we learned here, which I didn't get the first time I read it, I was like, okay, so he's not from Darv. He was suspiciously dropped off out of nowhere, doesn't know where it came from, and the leader of the elves took care of him personally. And every time he asked about it, he just kind of just like shoot him off, like, what are my parents? Where'd I come from? He never gave him a straight answer. So that gives his backstory a little mystery. You know, we're not really understanding where the black spikes comes from. It's kind of a weird metal that he's conjuring that nobody seems to be able to do but him. Okay, this right here is what I'm talking about. We all know who this is. Arthur and King Gray, who he used to be. So here's the thing. Why in the world is Elijah seeing this? Because in the light novel, this part never happened. For the webtoon readers, when we were just reading it, we're like, oh my God. So somehow we started to connect the dots. Where'd he come from? Why in the world is he seeing King Gray? That we're kind of saying like, okay, maybe he was reincarnated with Arthur somehow. But at the same time, the webtoon showed us this, the light novel did not. So you got guilt, envy, betrayal, anger. Like, what in the world happened between him and Arthur that he's feeling these types of feelings towards Arthur? What kind of betrayal happened? Let's go again. Let's read. Would it have been the same for me if I hadn't grown up with Darv? We're both freaks of nature, but the only difference is that it works in Arthur's favor. So once again, he's envious of Arthur. Arthur's getting the girls. Arthur's getting all the prestige. He's doing like big things out here. But at the same time, there goes headaches again. And once again, King Gray. We're pissed at him. Why do we hate King Gray? And I must reiterate, the light novel, this never happened. So we're going to say that whenever it is revealed that they have a past or whatever their past is, maybe they reincarnated together and got split up, who knows what it may be. But for us webtoon readers now, and like the light novel readers, it's going to be, the surprise is going to be a little less potent. It's not going to give you what it's supposed to give because we already kind of knew they had a past. But at the same time, he already gave it to us. I would want to know why he did this. Now here's the thing. This is where we start to get the similarities. Now we have a retainer here. We have these somewhat, I'm going to call them black spikes that is protruding out of everywhere. So maybe we're going to connect these black spikes with these black spikes. So we're going to say that maybe Elijah comes from Valakria. If you haven't gotten that far in the webtoon yet, then you'll get there. Maybe they're connected. Maybe that's his teacher of some sort. Because when we get to the fall of Xyrus in this lovely picture of Tessia being Lucas is a sicko, by the way. So Elijah gets pissed off. You're starting to see this kind of sinister, like magic the kill part. And let's talk about Genevieve for a second here. What we did not get in the webtoon, we got a light novel. It was a little bit of, not backstory, but some of the background chatter that we didn't get from the Blade Heart girl. So once this happened, Genevieve realized who he was, and what we got from the background, the conversation was, he said, "Sorry, I didn't know it was you." And he actually called Elijah sir at that point. So therefore, we already got the connection with Alacria. We've got, apparently, he is some sort of high-ranking person, because whatever his power is, number one, let's just go through it. Look, it's swirling, it's black energy. What's happening to me? Look, once again, black spikes coming out of the ground. They're so fast, it's even hitting the students. People he's supposed to protect, saying, "Stop, please." It's like, it hurts. And then what is this like fire around his fist? It's black fire. Eyes are red. Hair is up, Super Saiyan style. He's scared. He feels like it's not even his body. Once again, beast coming towards him. He kills them so fast. Does it remind you of somebody? It reminds you of the Retainer doing the exact same thing. But what we don't get is the Genevieve situation, where he recognizes who he is. He tells everybody to stop, don't touch him, like don't get anywhere near him. And he seems to actually recognize him, knows who he is in an apologizing manner, and trying to stop everybody from even moving. Like, hey, don't get near him, you're just gonna die. So as I end this video, right, I had the question of, why did Turtle Me show us the connection between Arthur and Elijah so soon? And I'm gonna ask you guys the question, how do you feel about this revelation? Did you notice it? Did you read a light novel? And then if you didn't read a light novel, how do you feel about that? Because if you had never read the webtoon and you just were like light novel only, this whole revelation of them possibly knowing each other, them coming from the same world, would have never came out. Are you disappointed that you didn't get the surprise or the revelation that you wanted, or are you fine that you actually know it now? Because they're going to try to bring it out later and say like, oh, this is their connection, and trying to make you go all the way back and read it and be like, oh, I didn't notice, but I noticed, because I'll read them and react to them. So subscribe to your boy for more the beginning after the end differences videos. We'll try to pump them out a little bit faster. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.